from this method only. How to do that?
Sir, non-static variable from that method. Sir,
Ah,
we have to include one
That
object creation statement,
means
sir.
in that
okay.
That employee E1 equal to like that. We have to,
Same. If
yes, sir.
I add the same statement over here,
It will work, sir.
it will work.
Yes, sir.
Now I don't have anything inside my main method. Will that work?
Sir, no, sir. It will first come to main method, sir.
First, it will come to main method. It is checking that what
Nothing,
there
sir.
is no object creation over here.
object
But
creation.
from here, if I directly call the to work method, yes, if I directly call the to work method, now
It will work,
It
sir.
will
it
work,
will
sir.
work. Guys, everyone understanding the flow? Yes, 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 guys, everyone. I want each and every one of you to understand and respond. If you're not getting, I'll repeat it, but don't stay quiet, okay? If you're not understanding, just ask your doubts.
Please, once again, please.
Yes. Oh, now Sudhir has come. Sudhir does come. Yes. Okay. Okay. So what I'm telling is that I'm just telling you how to access those variables, right? So now I was creating the object where I had created the objects inside my main method. But what I did is that I created my object inside this static method, that is to work method. Okay. Yes. Any error in this? It depends on you guys. Okay. You can create your objects anywhere you want, in any method. Just the thing is that that method should be called, right? So I have called this method. I've called the static method. This to work method is a static method, so I have directly called it.
Need
So after
one,
say we
one
will
thing.
call
Sorry
it.
to interrupt in the mid. Just copy it and paste it on the paint once, please.
Sir, it will in the main method whatever you have written as a to work, it will call the method to work, and then after the object will be created. Now,
Ha. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
And then after the object will be created, then yeah, a static method will be executed. Okay, sir.
Ha. So okay. I'll just copy it once in Paint and I'll explain. Okay. Yes. Fine.
Take a pencil.
Yeah, man. I'll take. Wait.
No. I just wanted to know the flow. I mean, not the way you. I mean, just a simple flow. How you tell in the copy paint.
So what is there inside my main method? Yes. Now, guys, that is not visible over there. Okay, so inside my main
Okay.
method there is only one statement. Yes,
To work.
that is to work. So what is this? This is a method call statement. Just remember this. Okay, what is there? Now if I start with the,
No. Please don't create block and all. Just no. Please take pencil. Please
then
once take pencil. No, don't create block. Please take pencil.
what
And
should I do?
just show me the flow from here. That is, uh, let's say we have a method. Where
Hmm.
is the method? Just put a pencil from left to right. Yeah, and where it is going from here.
Till
ओके
here.
ये यहाँ से शुरू होके वहां जा रहा है हाँ कुछ इस तरीके से एरो मार्क करके आप बता दो बस कि ये ऐसा ऐसा फ्लो है भाई ये ऐसा ऐसा हो रहा है ये यहाँ से यहाँ पे है ये यहाँ से यहाँ कॉलिंग हो रहा है वो बहुत इजी समझ में आ जाएगा फिर
ठीक है, ठीक है। ओके।
सॉरी मैं मतलब बीच में इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ इस तरीके से मैं इसके लिए माफी चाहता
नहीं
हूँ
नहीं नहीं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। ओके। सो guys, what is happening over here? I'm just telling you from the main method, guys. Okay. So what is happening? My main method, the actual execution of my program starts from main method, right? So the actual execution of my program starts from main method. So what is there inside my main method? To work.
Hmm.
That is, this is a method call statement. Yes. So because of this method call statement, what will happen is that the execution of this main method is paused. Yes, the execution of the main method is paused and the control is transferred to this to work method. Yes.
Okay.
Once the
Yes.
control is
This is
transferred,
yes.
then what will happen is that a block is created for this to work method. Now the first statement of the to work method gets executed. So in
Hmm.
the output, it will print employee is working.
Yes.
It got printed. Now what
Hmm.
is the next statement? Employee E1 is equals to new of employee Ram 1 and 98745. So
So
one
one
object
reference will
creation
be there.
statement is there. Because of that, one in the heap area, one block will be created. Yes,
Right. Right. Right.
0x1.
Yes.
Now one object has been created. Now this constructor is getting called.
Hmm.
This constructor gets called. So what is the work of this constructor? It will load all the non-static members into the object. All of that will be loaded. Then the table will also be created. Everything gets loaded. Now it will, the second task of the constructor is that the execution of the non-static initializers will happen.
So from here it will go up the compiler flow.
Which one? So
From imply E1 the flow will be up
hmm,
again. Okay.
from
Yes. From
here,
here.
like I cannot show it in diagram. It won't go anywhere. Okay. Just the
Okay.
thing is
Okay.
that because of this statement, the
Hmm.
object gets created in the heap area, and
Okay.
once the object got created, the constructor gets called. For that, in the stack area, one block will be created for this constructor, and it will complete its three tasks. So the first task is done, that it will load all the non-static members. Then the second task is that it will execute all the non-static initializers. So do I have any non-static initializer in my program? Yes, I have one non-static initializer. So it will get executed. So if this get executed, high from non-static multi-line initializer will get printed. Yes, this got printed. Now what next? What is the third task of the constructor? The programmer return instructions will get executed. So these are the programmer return instructions. So all these instructions will get executed, and what will happen is that all these values that have been passed now, which got stored in these local variables, so what is happening is that the values from the local variables will get transferred into the object created. That's all. Okay. So once all of this is also done, then the constructor's work is done. Then the new keyword returns the object reference that is stored over here inside E1. Now I'm trying to print the E1 dot ename. So with the help of this, if I write it like this, E1 dot ename, what will happen? Now it will go for that particular reference, and what is it will search for a particular variable by the name ename. So yes, I have ename. So whatever value is there inside that, that will get printed. So Ram will get printed. Yes, guys.
Yes, so understood.
Okay.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, Shashi. What happened? What Sweet just sending smileys? Yes, Sweet got it. You understood the flow?
Yes. Yes.
I
Yeah,
what I
thank you.
did is that I just removed those object creation statements from my main method and I transferred it to some other method. That's all. That is all that I did. Okay. Yes. So now, guys, one more rule is there, right? Do you remember that? Can I call a static member from a static context?
Static member. Yes, sir. You can call it.
Yes. I can call it. It will print me the value.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, can I call it from a non-static context?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So we can call it, sir.
By
We can call
directly
it
name itself, sir.
by the name directly. Okay, fine. Both are compile time successful. Now, just the opposite, guys. Okay. Now I have a non-static variable. Can I call it? Can I call a non-static variable from a static context directly?
No, sir.
No,
No. What is the reason? That non-static members should always be
neither.
accessed with the help of
Object reference, sir.
object
Object
reference.
reference.
Yes. Okay. Now, can I? So over here, it will give me compile time error. So I will write it like e1.ename only. This is only possible. Yes. Now, from a non-static context,
We cannot call the non-static members.
we cannot call it.
So from the non-static, okay, sir. Okay, what is saying?
Can I write it
So
like
we
this or not? Can I call a non-static variable
no, sir.
from a
We cannot call
non-static
it, sir.
context directly by its name?
Wait for a minute, sir. So this is methods.
I think it's possible.
Yes, guys.
It is method, sir. No. Okay, sir.
So this is a non-static context only, right? The block which belongs to a non-static member
I
becomes a
think it's
non-static context.
possible,
Yes,
sir.
possible.
Object is created, sir, and then after.
Both is non-static. It's possible.
But to if I want to print this value, then what should I do? I should call this method, right? Then how are you going to call this non-static method
After the object creation, and then
after the object creation? So over here in this to work method, I have the object created. So from here only I will call that punctual method. Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
possible.
Yes, sir.
Possible.
Yes, now from the main method, I'm calling the to work method. Once this to work method gets called, it starts executing. It prints employee is working, and then object is getting created. And that with the help of that object reference, I'm printing the ename, the non-static variable. So for that, I'm not getting any error. Then I'm calling a non-static method with the help of object reference. Now, what is there in that punctual method? I'm printing a non-static variable directly by its name. Yes. Now, is this possible or not?
No,
This
sir.
particular statement.
No, sir. We
No.
need an object reference, sir.
Even dot
Need
ename,
object
sir. Na?
reference. Okay, we'll see that. How many of you tell that whether it is compile time error or not, or it is compile time successful? Tell, tell guys, fast, fast, fast.
Ename,
Just a
sir.
guess, sir, that one.
Tell guys, what happened? First, we have to
Error.
create object there.
Error, sir. Even dot ename,
Error.
no. Error, sir.
Hmm.
Error will become.
Okay.
Not possible only, I'm also thinking, sir. Or
Am I getting any error?
no, sir.
No, right.
So it can a lot of interview questions, sir.
Am I able to print?
Sir, program one time take, sir.
Yes. See.
Ename is actually Ram, sir. We are.
Hmm. Sir, we are printing that one, sir. No error.
We are getting
Actually, sir,
this right.
ename is assigned to Ram is assigned to ename, sir. That's why it is printing.
So from a non-static context, this block belongs to a non-static member, right? This is a
Sir,
non-static method.
actually,
Uh,
it ename that refers to a non-static part, sir. So here itself we are giving that ename value RAM from local to non-static, no? So I think it's possible.
So because after the generation of objects, sir, we have assigned that value to ename is equal to Ram.
So
That's
it
why
is
it is
possible
printed.
only, sir.
Hmm. Okay.
Now understood the floor, sir.
Now you all okay. So
I don't
many of them are there
how it
who didn't understood. Okay.
under
So
I
yes.
don't understand. Sir.
So guys,
Explain it,
nothing
sir.
nothing else. No other logic. Okay. Only one thing you must remember that from a non-static context, you can call the non-static members, okay, directly by its name,
After the
but
object
only from a
creation.
non-static context, okay.
सर राम असाइन कैसे हुआ
Yes,
इनेम को राम असाइन कैसे हुआ ये नहीं
इनेम को
समझ में
नाम
आया
असाइन कैसे हुआ?
हाँ
ये तो कंस्ट्रक्टर कर दिया ना.
ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएशन के बाद कंस्ट्रक्टर ने सर वहाँ पे ename को Ram असाइन कर
इस
दिया.
लाइन की
And
वजह
then
से
we can
ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएशन हुआ.
yes
जब
sir.
ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएशन हो गया, कंस्ट्रक्टर कॉल हो गया, तो कंस्ट्रक्टर अपना तीनों टास्क कंप्लीट किया. द कंस्ट्रक्टर कंप्लीटेड इट्स 3 tasks, in which the first task is loading, then the second one is executing the non-static initializers, then the third task is the programmer return instructions. So because of the programmer return instructions, ename की जगह पे ram चला गया. Yes,
Yes, sir.
चला गया. Third task is done. Constructor's work is done. Now ये जो reference है, this is being returned to this E1 reference variable. Done. Object creation statement completed. Done. Nothing
yes
to worry about that. Now I have a print statement inside this to work. I'm accessing that particular object's ename. So I'm getting it. Okay. Now after that, what I'm doing, I'm calling a non-static method with the help of our object reference. Now this is a non-static method. Yes, this is a non-static method, right?
Yes, sir.
So a non-static method will have a non-static context. So from a non-static context, you just have to remember this as a note point, guys. Okay, this is a note, and this is a good interview question. That from a non-static context, you can directly call a non-static member by its name, and that is only possible from a non-static context. Okay, but in the case of static variable, you can call it from anywhere by its name in this program. Yes, yes or no? But since it is a non-static variable and you are calling it from a non-static method, so it is possible. It is a rule, guys. Okay, it is a rule. You have to remember it like this. You won't remember it like all of a sudden, but if you keep practicing these things, small things, then only you'll be able to remember all of this. Okay.
So I think that this class question have at least 50 questions, sir.
But yes, guys, this is very important from static, non-static, and all of this. Okay.
So interviewer can generate at least 50 questions from this question only itself, sir.
Ah, until now, like we have not yet completed the constructor part also. Okay.
Nice question.
So yes, guys, understood that from a non-static context, you can access a non-static variable. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Understood, sir.
Understood. Okay. In this method, Mitesh, yes, Mitesh, first have to create object there. Okay. So for that. Okay, guys. So, anyone having any doubts till here? Yes. Yes, guys. Guys, anyone having any doubts till here?
Doubts.
No.
Approximately all clear, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Then, guys, now we are going to start with a new topic related to constructor. Okay. Okay, guys. Now I want to ask you guys a question. That so you all know that only in one case default constructor will get added, right? Only in one case. What is that situation?
Sir, if there is no any
No
constructor, sir.
constructors.
Okay. So if the programmer has forgotten to add a
If an
constructor in his program, and at that time only the default constructor will get added by the compiler, yes or no?
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So yes, guys, we should take a example of student. Okay. I hope I don't have any student in this.
No, sir. No student. But in system only the sir.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Take a peek.
Okay.
Backend side.
So yes, guys. So I'll take a new example for this new topic. Okay, the student example. Class student. So first of all, we'll be creating a small class for understanding it better. Now, what are the things that a student will have? I want to create an object for students. So, what are the
Student
things
ID.
that it will have?
Variables
Student
method,
name.
sir.
Variables, methods, and initializers. Okay. Int of ID I'll take. Then string of name I'll take. Then anything else?
The roll number, sir.
ID is only the roll number. I guess I'll take. Yeah. Then I'll take if he's having a name, then he'll have a class and all of that, right? Yes.
Standard, sir.
String of standard, char of section also he'll have, he or she'll
Yes,
have,
sir.
right? Then what next? A student will have his blood group as well. Yes or no? BG I'll take. BG stands for blood group. Okay. So these are the things that a student will have, and the record. These are the records that a school will also have related to a student, right? Yes.
Yes, sir.
I've just taken some random examples. Okay, so ID, it means the role ID, the name, the class, and the section, and his or her blood group. That's all. Okay. Now, guys, I'll change this section from char to string only. Okay. Yes. Done. So I have five non-static states for the student object. Now I should have some non-static methods as well.
Okay.
Public void of study. There's a study method. Then similarly, pass method, fail method. Yes. Okay. So these are some methods, some random methods that I've taken. Okay. So there are how many fields, guys? Yes. How many
Five,
non-static members I
five,
have?
five non-static variables.
Okay. So I have five non-static variables and three non-static methods. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll take this much only as example. Now, along with this, I'll take the main method. Yes, guys, tell. So, guys, just for understanding, I'll just add dot out dot println. Yes, just a moment, guys. All my methods are ready now. Yes, guys. So, what are the things that I need to create? Guys, I won't be adding any multi-line initializers, okay? I won't be adding. I just want you guys to understand the flow, okay? Of So I'll be creating a object. Yes, I want to create an object of student. The first student that I want to create. So for that, I'll be writing new of student. Yes, new of student. And for that, yes, so I have so many fields, right? So yes, should we take the help of a parameterized constructor? Yes, guys,
Yes, sir.
to initialize, or else we'll have to sit and initialize for all the students. All the values should be initialized by us.
Yes.
So instead of that, what I'll do is that I'll be adding a parameterized constructor. Yes,
Yes,
won't
sir.
that make my work easier?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So for that, what I need to do is that I'll be adding a parameterized
Student
constructor student. Now what to do? Int of id, then
string of
string
name.
of string of name, string of standard, string of section, comma, string of
Blood group.
blood group. Yes, that's all. These are the things. Now, all the things are important. Guys, focus. Okay, so I'll remove this blood group. So many fields. This blood group is not needed. Okay. Yes, guys. 4 fields are enough. Now, what should be the statement inside my constructor?
This
This dot
This
this dot
this
id
dot
equal to id.
is equals to id.
this dot
This dot
name equal
name
to name.
equal to name. This dot standard is equals to standard. This dot section is equals to section. That's all done.
Yes, sir.
The constructor's work is done. Now I've created a parameterized constructor, so I should be passing the values.
Value.
I'll be passing the values. Uh, Anand, I'll pass first name, then standard. Yes, any standard, guys. So I'll take it as 10. And for section, I'll take it as A. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, no errors in my program. So what should I do is that I'll just add a print statement to just check, okay, the details. s1 dot id is 100 and section done. Yes. Now if I execute this program, I hope I won't get any compiled and manual, but the thing is that it is not present inside this folder. So it is compiled and successful. Now once if I execute it, what will I get is that yes, so I'm getting the output right. No
Yes,
problem
sir.
in this. Okay. So, just a second. Hello. हाँ ठीक है करते हैं. Okay. So So what will happen if I forget to pass any one value? Yes, maybe during the creation of my object, I forgot that there are four fields that I have created, but I forgot to pass any one. Then what will happen?
Error, sir.
Error. Okay, let's see. Yes, I'm getting an error, right? Because it is telling that what is it telling? Required int string string string. So it is asking for four arguments, but how many have I passed? I've passed only three arguments, right? The number of actual arguments and the number of formal arguments are not matching. My compiler checks the number of formal arguments and the number of actual arguments, and it is not matching, so it is throwing a compile time error, and it is telling reason actual and formal arguments list differ in length. Yes or no? This is the error. We knew that we will get this error. Now, guys, there is a concept. Okay, there is a concept to overcome this. There is a concept to overcome only and only this thing, that is by creating one more constructor. Now there might be times, right, there might be times when the user will forget to pass all those values. Yes. So then if it is happening like that, if I am not passing, then then the entire program will only stop, right? If the user is not knowing, like whoever is, like, just assume that you are a staff of a school and you are the admin and you have to do all of this, you have to do the admission part of all of that and all. Okay. So in that case, if you don't know the proper and exact information about a particular student about for whom you want to create an object, then at that time, if you don't know the value for that section or standard, then what you will do? the thing that you'll do is that you will not pass these values, right? That is the only option. Or what you'll do, you will pass something by on your own. Yes, is that the correct way? No, right? Are you getting my point? Yes, guys. The number of actual arguments and formal arguments must be same, but in spite of that rule that is there, in spite of that rule, there is a concept by the name constructor overloading. So first of all, I'll tell you what is constructor overloading in simple words. Okay, now constructor overloading means that your class is having more than one constructor. Okay, yes, it means what? That the class is having more than one constructor. So over here I'm having only one constructor. Yes, but now I'm telling you that I can add n number of constructors, guys, based on my choice, based on my requirement. I can add n number of constructors, and that is only known as constructor overloading. If a class is having more than one constructor, then it is known as what? Constructor overloading. Okay, now I'll tell you, I'll show you the use of it. Okay, why is it needed? So right now in this example we saw the situation, right? What we might face if we forget to pass any value from this, we will get a compile time error. Now if I don't pass this fourth value over here, then I'm getting a compile time error, right? But I can overcome this drawback. How am I going to overcome this drawback? By creating or by constructor overloading. Now, how to do constructor overloading? How to achieve constructor overloading? Just by adding one more constructor. Now, if I have a constructor like the same constructor, if I have, see, if I have one constructor like this, little. Yes, guys, focus over here. Yes, see. Now, constructor overloading means if my class is having more than one constructor. So now I have a constructor over here which is having four arguments. Yes, this constructor, the first one is having four formal arguments, and now the second constructor that I have is having how many formal arguments? It is having
3, sir.
only three formal arguments, right? So now in this case, so if I have only three formal arguments, then do I have a need to initialize that last one? Because I don't have any value in this constructor, right, for that section. So I'll remove that also. Okay, so guys, understanding
Yes, sir.
what is the difference between these two constructors?
Yes, we created two different parameterized constructors
Yeah.
with different value.
Yes, so there are two different parameterized constructors in a same program. This constructor is also having the same name by the name student, and this constructor is also having the same name. But because why? Because it is a rule that the constructor will have the same name as the class name. So we are following the rules. We are not doing anything on our own. Okay, we are just following the rules and doing it. Yes. So I have two constructors. Now it is only known as constructor overloading. Now what is the benefit of this, guys? Okay, now why did I add this constructor? I'll show you. Now just suppose that now in this case, now I have one more constructor which accepts only three formal arguments. Now if I forget to add that section also, now will I get any compile time error?
No, sir.
Yes. No.
No, sir.
Yes, so I'll compile it and show you. See, earlier I was getting compile time error because I had only one constructor in my program. But now am I getting any compile time error? And my program is working perfectly fine, right? The object
sir.
also got created. The non-static variables also are accessible. But the only thing that is happening over here is that I'm not getting any value for which variable. For section, I'm not getting any value. That's the only thing, right? Guys,
Yes, sir.
yes. So you all understood what happened, yes?
What will happen if I will not add the second? I mean, if you will not add the second constructor, will it go error or will it?
if you don't add the second constructor, like
Yes.
this one, the first one you don't want to add, or this one you don't want to add?
I don't want to add the second one.
The second one, this one you don't want to add. Okay, if you don't add it this one, and if
Hmm.
now if you are trying to create an object with by passing only three values, or just consider by passing two values, then will it be compiled and successful?
No, sir.
Which constructor are you calling? I'm calling a student class constructor which accepts two actual arguments. But am I having any constructor which accepts two formal arguments?
No, no.
No. So don't you think this will give me compile time error?
Yes.
Because the number of formal arguments is not matching with the actual arguments. That's why I'm getting the error. Very simple and simple and short logic. Yes. Very simple and to the point.
Got it. And through customer overloading, we can overcome to this.
Yes. And for just to overcome this condition, now because we are giving some flexibility, okay, now we are just thinking based on
Please,
the
someone
user,
mute you.
based on the programmer. If the programmer forgets to pass any values except this id, then what will happen? Then also he'll get compile time error, right? Because I'm having only one constructor in my program which accepts four formal arguments, but I have passed only one actual argument. So that's why I'm getting these errors. So now how to overcome this problem? For that, what we have to do is that we have to create, we have to achieve constructor overloading. Now, what is constructor overloading? If a class is having more than one constructor, then only it is known as constructor overloading. Okay.
Is it
Now,
include that with same parameter? No.
yes,
One
but
is
the
the
thing,
same.
that is important for us is that now can I create two constructors that are exactly same? Yes, this constructor is also having four formal arguments, and this constructor is also having four formal arguments. Now, is this possible? The point that I told you for constructor overloading, that if a class is having more than one constructor, it satisfies this point. Yes, but did I tell you that both the constructors can be same? No, right?
Hmm.
Guys, hello. When did it get disconnected? You all are not talking in the group also. I was speaking from
Yes.
so loud.
Yes.
Huh?
This is audible, sir.
Voice is audible. No, I'm asking when did it get disconnected?
Sir, at least 3 minutes before, sir. 2 minutes before.
Huh?
Sir, 2 minutes. 2 minutes
2
before,
minutes.
sir. Yes, sir. So
Okay.
whatever you have speaking 2 minutes, we haven't listened, sir.
There is only one rule that you must remember. What is that rule? Is that the signature must be different. Now, what do you understand by signature? In signature, there are only two things, right? That is the constructor name and the formal argument. So, can you change? Can you change the constructor name?
No, sir.
Yes or no?
You cannot
No.
change,
You
sir.
cannot change the constructor name because there is a rule that the constructor name will always be same as the class name. So we cannot change. But the only other thing that remains in the
Formal
signature is
argument.
what? The formal arguments. So, okay, fine, you understood that we can do changes to this formal arguments only. Now, can you change the order? Like this ID will be in the last, then this name will be in the first. Can you do? No,
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 you
you
sir.
have
cannot
to
change
pass like that.
order. But the only thing that we can do is that just see that what is constructor overloading is that if I have more than one constructor, so this constructor accepts four values, four formal arguments, and this constructor accepts three formal arguments. Now, similarly, I can create two more constructors. Why?
For two
If their
formal
actual
arguments.
arguments is one or two, sir.
Ah,
According to which?
according to the user, okay.
Yes, sir.
Now over here is just passing two values,
Enough.
and in this only one.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Now guys, tell me what is happening in this program. I have how many constructors I have? I have
Four.
a constructor which accepts four formal arguments. Then I have a constructor which accepts three formal arguments. Then I have a constructor which accepts two formal arguments. Then I have a constructor which accepts only one formal argument. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So now if I create an object by passing only one ID, will it give me any compile time error?
No, sir.
No. Why?
Sir, there is an alternate constructor, sir.
Yes, because I am providing an alternate option for my compiler that if the user is not passing four values, or he is not passing three values, or if he is not passing two values also, then also allow him to create a object. Yes or no? Now if I try to execute this program, what will happen? Yes, it is compiled and
Successful.
successful, and I'm getting the value only for ID because I created an object with the help of the constructor which accepts only ID. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And what about the rest of the parameters?
We didn't
If I
initiate
have
it, sir.
created, yeah, if I created an object with the help of this particular constructor which accepts only one formal argument, then only this constructor worked. Then what about these constructors? They worked or not? Yes.
It executed with no value.
No, guys. These constructor did not execute only. Why?
Okay.
Because which constructor am I calling in this object creation statement?
Student one.
I'm
Student.
calling the parameterized constructor which accepts only one formal
One.
arguments, that is int of ID. Yes.
Okay.
Now over here if I create h2 and if I pass two values, that is 1 comma abc, I'll give the name as abc. Now will it give me any compile time error?
No, sir.
No, because I have a dedicated constructor for this type also,
Right.
right?
Yes, sir.
Because
Right.
if my user forgets to pass the four values, then also I have given one more alternate option that okay, if you pass two values also, then also I'll be allowing you to create an object. So will I get any compile time error? No,
No,
I
No.
won't
sir.
get. But I have not printed those values, so I'm not getting any value, right? Yes, so I have passed two values, so I'll see whether I'm able to access them or not. I'm getting h2.id and h2.name. Yes, so I'll get those values. Yes
Yes,
or
sir.
no? Yes, I'm getting those values. Okay. Now, similarly for the third one, yes, will I be able to do it?
Sir,
Yes. This is my third object. Yes, guys. Fine. Yes. Will I be able to print the third student's values? Yes, I'm getting the values for the third student, right? For the second student also I'm getting. But what about this? For the third student, null. What am I getting null? The standard for the third student, right? The standard for the third student I'm getting null. Why?
Sir, we didn't initialize, sir.
We have not passed the value. Yes. So the standard if I pass as C, how will I get? Yes, I'm getting the C. Guys, are you all understanding what is happening?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now if I pass the fourth value also,
It will take and execute.
will take. So what was the last one? ID, name, standard, and section. Yes. Will take. Because I have a dedicated constructor for that case also. If the programmer fails to pass any values, or if he passes also, then also all of this is possible, right? So this concept is only known as constructor overloading. So what is happening? I'm just giving flexibility to the programmer. Yes, if he forgets also, what will happen is that we can add it. So the only thing that we have to do is that we have to add constructors based on our requirement. You have to think. You have to think and do this. Okay, guys. So why you have done that? So that my program should not stop. Okay, so that my program should not stop. But now guys, if I want to create one more student, yes, see, if I want to create one more student by the name S4, and for this case I don't want to pass any values, is that possible? Yes, is this possible, guys?
No.
We have.
Public void.
No, sir. We
Yes,
have
yes,
made
yes.
it.
Because we have one method pass as well, which is void.
So we have done it before also,
Sir, we have tried a non-parameterized, sir.
non-parameterized. But in this
And
case,
am I having a non-parameterized constructor in my program?
No, sir.
Will the compiler add a default
Default
constructor?
constructor, sir.
no, sir. There is already a constructor. Then why it will order default?
Then it won't add, right? So
Yes,
if
sir.
I try to compile it now, will it be compiled and successful? Hell,
It will be success.
whether it will be
It
successful
won't
or
add,
not,
sir, but it would be successful.
it will be successful. Am I having any constructor which accepts no arguments?
No, sir.
No, right? I'm not having any constructor which accepts no argument. The least one which the constructor which accepts the least formal argument is this one. That also accepts one formal arguments, right? So how are you telling that it will be compiled and successful? I don't have that particular constructor, so how will that get called? See, yes, am I getting compile time error?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is it telling? No suitable constructor found for student of no arguments. Yes. Is it telling me this, giving me this reason that it is unable to find a constructor which matches with the number of arguments that I have passed during the object creation? Yes or no? I don't have any constructor which accepts no argument, guys. So what should I do? Method overload, constructor overloading. Yes. How to achieve
Yes.
constructor overloading?
We
I'll
will
add
create
one more student
uh,
constructor which
Yes,
accepts
yes.
how many formal arguments?
zero.
Zero, sir.
Zero. Yes.
Mhm.
That's all. Now will I be able to create? Yes. Now I'm able to create. Now my program is again working perfectly fine. So all of this is done just to avoid the stopping, unexpected stopping of my program, just to avoid that. Okay. If by mistake the user creates a student object without passing any of the one values, then also the program should not stop. That's why this concept has come, the constructor overloading. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Yes. This is a very
Yes, sir.
small topic, guys. Okay, now I
So
hope I
suppose
don't.
that if there are
Ah,
50 formal arguments, sir, then we have
50.
to generate the 50 uh, 50, sir. Then we have to generate so much of the constructor, na,
Yes,
sir.
if there are 50 states, okay, if there are 50 states like this, 50 non-static variables, then for that you'll have to create 50 constructors. Okay. But in this, guys, one more concept is remaining, that is constructor chaining. Okay. Now, what I have done over here is that there is no relation between these constructors, right? If I create an object, if I create an object without passing any argument, then this constructor is getting called, and that part, that is a different object, right? But if I am calling the constructor which accepts four values, then which one is getting called? This one is getting called. But there is one more concept that lies over here, is that I can reduce some lines from these. Okay, I can reduce what? I can reduce some lines from these. How should I do it? For that, guys, there is a concept by the name constructor chaining. Okay. So, yes, guys. So, what did you understand by constructor overloading?
It helped to take.
Having more than one constructor inside a class.
Yes.
If a class
Yeah.
has more than one constructor, sir.
Yes. If a class is having more than one constructor,
Then it is known as constructor
then it is
overloading.
known as constructor overloading. Now, what is the rule that I said that you must follow?
Uh, it should have the same argument as we are passing in the object calling.
Sir,
Yes.
and
The signature of the constructor must be different.
Signature. Yes.
Yes. This rule you must not forget. Okay.
no same constructor will be allowed, no, sir.
What?
Similar, no similar
Yeah.
constructor.
That's why this rule is important, right? The signature of the constructor must be different, means that only, right? So just suppose like I had a student constructor which accepts no formal argument. This is one. Then I have one which accepts one formal argument, that is int of id. I have some statement inside also, no problem. Then I have one more student int of id and string of name. So these are three different formal. These are three different constructors. Okay, these are three different constructors. But
Yes.
what is different? What is the difference over here?
Argument which we are passing.
Yes, there's only difference. There's only one difference between these. the formal arguments. So this formal arguments comes under the signature part only, right? This name and the formal arguments combine and become the signature of that. Okay, guys. So this, if you combine the constructor name and the formal arguments, then it becomes the signature. Yes. When we were discussing methods at that time, we discussed, right, method signature. So related from there only. So guys, you must not forget this rule. If you want to achieve constructor overloading, then this rule is must. Okay. What is the use of this constructor overloading is that our program becomes much more flexible and there are less chances of getting errors. That's all. Okay. Now I can create new of student by without giving any formal actual arguments. I can create a new of student by passing any one value also. Yes or no? Yes. So of choices. Yes. That is the only difference. Okay. Now, guys, there is a topic. The topic that we are going to start, which is related again to constructors and constructor overloading, is that constructor chaining. Yes. Now, constructor chaining means what? Is that in simple words, I'll tell you that if a constructor is calling another constructor, then only it is known as constructor chaining. Now, in this case, I have five constructors, right? I have five constructors, four parameterized and one non-parameterized. So, don't you think I should take the help? Yes, because I'm initializing these values again and again. This constructor is also initializing these values. This constructor is also initializing these values. Right? Or yes, I had to write these lines again and again, right? So there is a way by which I can I can shorten my code, and what I can do is that I can take the help of other constructor. Okay. So now, guys, what is happening? Yes, in this constructor, if I'm creating an object with the help of this particular constructor by passing four values, then all the values will get initialized by this one only. Yes,
Sir.
yes. So, guys, there's a concept by the name constructor chaining. So, what is that? Constructor chaining means that a constructor calling another constructor is known as constructor chaining. Okay. So now we'll see what is the use. What do you understand by calling another constructor? What is the use of calling another constructor? Okay. So over here, what I'll do is that there are two ways by which we can achieve constructor chaining. Okay. So what do you understand by constructor chaining? A constructor
Constructor,
Calling another constructor.
constructors,
calling another constructor.
another constructor.
Okay. Constructor calling another constructor becomes constructor chaining, and this process can be achieved in two ways. Okay. It can be achieved in two ways. The first one is with the help of this call statement. And the second one is super call statement. Okay. There are two ways to achieve constructor chaining, guys. The first one is this call statement, and the second one is super call statement. So, right now we are going to discuss this call statement because I hope you all remember what is this. Yes,
Yes, sir.
in our last class only
Yes,
we
sir.
discussed what is this, right?
Yes, sir.
Used to call the local variable in the case of the
Yes.
variable having the same name, or to refer the local team member.
So this call statement is used to. Right now we are going to discuss this call statement only, because till now we have discussed only this much only. Okay. We'll discuss the super call statement in our part 2, guys. Okay. And this call statement, so this call statement means calling. This call statement is used to call a constructor of the same class. Right now we are discussing everything of the same class only, right? So this call statement is used to call the constructor from which class?
Same class.
From same class. Okay. So like how over here I have five constructors, right? I have five constructors over here. So I can achieve, as I have achieved constructor overloading, so now I can use constructor chaining as well. With the help of constructor chaining, what I can do is that this constructor can call this constructor can call this constructor. I'll show you, okay, what is the use and why am I doing that. But you just remember that constructor chaining can be achieved in two ways. That is, the first one is by using this call statement, and the second one is by using super call statement. So for the time being, you remember that this call statement is used to call a constructor from of the same class. Okay. Yes. Just see. It is used to call the constructor of the same class from another constructor. I hope this is much better. Yes. So this call statement is used to call the constructor of the same class from another constructor. Like how over here I have a single class. Yes, I have a single class student, but in this class only I have five constructors. So now over here I'll show how to achieve constructor chaining. Now to achieve constructor chaining means I'll be taking the help. I'll be taking the help because my this constructor, yes, over here, can you see, guys? This constructor is doing what? With the help of this constructor, I can create an object by passing only one value, and that particular value will be initialized by this only. Yes or no? So I can take the help of this constructor, which is initializing the ID in my object. Okay, that is the use of constructor chaining. So now what I'll do over here is that, so don't you think I'm repeating these statements again and again? This dot id is initialized over here also. 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 Yes. Have I repeated those lines again and again or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, guys. So what I'm trying to tell is that as I have four constructors, then why don't you think that I should why shouldn't I use or take the help of all the constructors that are present? Yes.
Yes, sir.
I can take the help of all the constructors, right? Because this constructor is initializing one value. So I'll be keeping this in constructor only for assigning the ID only. So what I'll do over here is that I don't want this the second constructor that I have, which accepts two formal arguments. Then I don't want this constructor to initialize that ID again and again. Okay. So what I'll do is that I'll just call the constructor which has already initialized the ID. Yes, which is the constructor?
A student,
Yes,
all
yes,
are the same.
yes. This first one, which is having only one formal argument. This is only responsible for initializing the ID.
Sir.
So
Yes,
don't
sir.
you think I can take the help of this constructor?
Yes, sir. We
Yes,
can
I
take,
can
sir.
take the help or not.
Since this
Yes.
constructor is already overloaded, how we will come to know that where it is going to point out? Because all are the
Where it is
overloaded
going,
constructor
that's
having
why,
same
that's
name.
why. So what I'm trying to tell is that over here I have four parameterized constructors. So what I can do right now, what I can do is that I can just simply create my student objects based on how many ever values I am passing, right? But what about the other values that are not getting initialized? Yes, you want those values also to be initialized, right? Because I'm getting null everywhere.
Yes,
Why
yes,
am I
yes.
getting these null? Because I have not initialized. Because for the first constructor, yes, when I'm passing only one value, then what it will do, it is initializing only one value. Because I've called which constructor? I've called the constructor which is accepting only one value. Now, do you think that this constructor has the capability or the capacity to initialize all the values? Yes, do you think? No, this
No,
constructor
no,
is
only
having
only
only the
ID.
capacity to initialize only the ID, right?
Yes.
Because of this statement, my constructor which accepts only ID, it can initialize only the ID, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the help of this constructor which is already initializing the ID. Now how to do that? That I can do with the help of this call statement. Okay. That I can do with the help of this call statement. So for that I'll have to write only this, and along with that, this call statement, there is difference in this and this. Okay, there is difference, guys. This is a this call statement. Why am I writing this? To call the constructor which accepts one ID. Now if it is accepting one ID, don't you think while calling I should be passing it in the
One
as a actual argument?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So
one
if I write
formal
it,
argument.
yes, huh, just a second.
Should we write int ID or only ID?
Hmm. No.
Only ID
Okay.
because we already initiated. No.
Yes, guys. So what I am doing is that with the help of this call statement, I am calling which constructor? With the help of this statement, I am calling which constructor?
Sir, the constructor which has single parameter, sir.
The constructor which is
Over.
having single parameter. Why am I doing that?
Yes.
I'm taking the help. I'm taking its help, guys. Okay. With the help of this call statement, I'm doing what? So what I did is that I removed that this dot id is equals to id, and I did what? I just wrote a, what is this? This is a this call statement. With the help of this call statement, I can call a constructor of the same class from another constructor. Yes, am I doing that or not? I'm
Yes, sir.
calling a constructor, a different constructor from one constructor, right? I'm calling a constructor from one constructor which is in this particular class only. Yes. So similarly, now what about this? There is a constructor which accepts three values, but over here again I'm initializing the id and name, which has already been done by this second constructor or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So over here in this second constructor, what I'm doing is that this is calling this constructor and id is being initialized, and once the control comes here again, then because of this statement the name is getting initialized or not. So two values are getting initialized by this constructor. Yes. But now what about this constructor? Again, I have written the initialization statements for these two things, but don't you think that id and name and has already been initialized? I've given the responsibility to a particular constructor for initializing those two values, so this is already done, right? So
Yes,
Yes, sir.
instead of this, what I'll do is that I'll just call that constructor
This
Yes.
ID name
id
name
comma name. Yes, that's all, guys. Okay, I'm just calling and asking for its help. Okay, now similarly for the fourth one, these, don't you think that these values have already been initialized by
Yeah,
this
sir.
constructor?
Yes. Yes.
So instead of these lines, what I can do is that I can just write
Yes.
a this call statement. This which
ID.
accepts what? ID, then name,
Standard.
and then
Standard.
standard. Yes. Now, guys, I can tell that constructor chaining has been achieved. Okay. Now, what will happen? See, I'll remove all of this to avoid the confusions, and I'll just create a new off student. Now, in this, tell guys what to do. How many values you want to pass?
4.
For the first one, I'll pass all the values. Okay.
ID.
4, then name, I'll pass
Name.
ABC. Then for class,
Standard.
I'll pass as what is happening? 12. Then standard is section is
Section.
okay. Done.
Yes, sir.
Dot print ln of s4 dot id id name standard and section. Yes. Now I'll see whether my program is working perfectly fine or not. Yes, it is compiled and successful. Now, am I getting all the values?
Yes, sir.
Yes, guys, I'm getting. But what changes I did? the changes that I did to my program is that I have passed these values. Yes or no? I have called the constructor which accepts 4 parameters only. I've called that constructor only by passing 4 values. So I have called which constructor? This constructor I have called. But inside that, what is there? The first statement is the this call statement. Because of this call statement, what is happening? Yes.
Sir, it is searching for the constructor which is having 3 parameters, sir.
Yes, so because of this call statement, it is looking for the constructor which accepts those 3 values. So those 3 values got stored, that is 4, then ABC, and then standard 12 comes here in this local variable. Then what is there inside this? One more this call statement is there. So the 2 values, that is 4 and ABC name, value again goes for the constructor which accepts 2 formal arguments. So here it is. It again over here, what is happening is that this call statement is there which accepts one ID. So once it reaches this constructor which accepts only one value, what is happening over here? The value of ID, that is 4, gets initialized by this. Only the ID is being initialized by this. Okay. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Only the ID is being initialized by this. Then what next? Then the control goes back where? The control goes back to this statement. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So after this, what is there? Name is getting initialized. So because of this constructor, what happened is that because of this call statement, the ID got initialized by this constructor and the name was initialized by this one only. So now once the execution of this constructor is done, the control goes back to which constructor? Who called this constructor?
The constructor which is having 3 parameters, sir.
3 parameters. So over here, the control goes back there. Then the work of this line is done. Then
Yes,
the
sir.
standard gets initialized into the object.
Yes,
Now
sir.
again, what happens that the control is transferred back to the constructor which has called that particular
Oh.
constructor. So the control goes back there. Then the last thing that is remaining over there is the section. Then the
Section.
section also gets initialized. So now can I tell the entire initialization process is done? But how is it done? It is done in
Chaining.
part. Yes, it is done with the help of constructor overloading and constructor chaining. So constructor overloading means if I have more than one constructor in my program, then it is known as constructor overloading. And what do you understand by constructor chaining?
If a constructor
Yes,
calls another constructor from the same class,
if a
sir.
constructor calls another constructor, then it becomes constructor chaining. Yes. Now, how to achieve constructor chaining?
By using the keyword is
Yes, we can achieve constructor chaining by 2 ways. That is with the help of this call statement and with the help of
super
super
call.
call statement. Yes, guys. Okay. So just a second. Hello. Yes, guys. Guys, did you all understand?
Sir, please show that
Yes,
code, sir.
the code. Okay, just
I
a
want to
second.
take a peek.
Take a pic. Yes, taken.
Yes, sir.
Done, guys. Guys, did you all understand? Guys will understand it in a much better way when I take more examples. Okay, I know like it is a bit confusing right now, but don't worry, we'll take more examples tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, bit is smaller and precise. It is quite interactive even. I understood.
It is interesting. Okay, so guys, take the notes of constructor overloading. Uh, from first slide. Guys, anyone take a picture? Yes. So if a class is having more than one constructor, it is only known as constructor overloading. The only rule that is there is that the signature of the constructors must be different. Yes. Okay. Done with this example.
Mhm. Yeah.
Then constructor chaining. Constructor calling another constructor is known as constructor chaining. Okay. Now we can achieve constructor chaining by two ways, that is with the help of this call statement and super call statement.
So
This
signature
call
means
statement is
parameter.
used. uh,
Signature means parameter. Previous slide.
Signature means name. Signature,
Name. Yeah, in the
case of a
previous
method,
slides.
signature method, signature method name and formal arguments. Similarly,
Okay.
in the case of constructor also, the signature means the constructor name and formal arguments. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So in Java, we can achieve constructor chaining in two ways, that is with the help of this call statement and super call statement. But right now we are only discussing this call statement because this call statement is helpful in calling a constructor of the same class, guys. Okay. We can call a constructor from the same class. Okay. And regarding the super call, the only thing I'll tell you for now is that we can, with the help of the super call, I can call a constructor of its some other class. Okay. Yes.
Sir, tomorrow
Now
holiday, sir.
tomorrow,
Holiday.
tomorrow,
Yes, sir.
what is it? Holiday from in the other classes?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
So
Everyone gave
tomorrow
you
is
holiday.
Eid.
Tomorrow is Eid. I know. Yes, guys. So yes, whatever you guys tell.
Sir, your wish, sir, if you want, take. Otherwise, no.
It's fine. Tell
I want
guys.
holiday as it is a main
I'll,
festival.
yeah, it's main festival, guys. Okay. Okay, fine, guys. It's holiday for tomorrow. Uh, guys, just take a screenshot of this call statement also. Okay, but we have not yet discussed the rules. Okay, just go through before coming tomorrow or coming day after tomorrow. Okay, like we'll see discuss these rules about this call statements day after tomorrow. Okay. Yes, this is
Sir,
the
tomorrow
example.
holiday. Holiday, na tomorrow.
What?
Tomorrow, get holiday or what, sir?
Yes,
Tomorrow
yes.
is
Tomorrow
class
is
for you.
holiday. Tomorrow is holiday. Needs chill, chill, Madi.
Happy Eid, sir.
Yes, guys. Happy Eid to everyone. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
That's
Tomorrow,
all for today, guys. Yes. Anyone trying to
sir,
speak?
tomorrow I will go for Pani Puri, sir.
Go,
Is the
go,
fixed
go
timing
eat,
to
go eat
start the
pani
class,
puri.
sir?
Open one pani puri stall only. Ah.
So, so what is the fixed time for the
What
class,
is the
sir?
for the
Fixed
fixed
time,
time, guys? I want you to
7:15
take
or
your class
7:30?
from 6 to 8. What,
6 to 8.
guys?
Oh,
I'm telling that is my wish. I want to take your class from 6 to 8. Then it will be very good
No,
for
no,
me.
sir. Till 7
no, sir.
p.m. sir. Already
But
class
you guys are
going
having
on.
classes, so I'll have to take it from 7 only now.
Sir, today I joined late. That's why I'm asking.
We are
Oh,
labor. We are labor from 9 to 6. We labor somewhere.
ah, yes.
So,
Okay.
68, huh?
What? No, no, no.
the
7 to 9 only, guys. 7 to 9.
sharp
Yeah.
7, sir.
Yes, yes. Sharp 7.
Maybe 7:10 maximum.
If I am late, then I'll inform it in the group. Okay, but it is 7 to 9 only. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Just
Okay.
9:18 that time. You said 9 only.
Uh,
18.
please add me, guys. Just a second. I haven't added Mitesh till now. Okay.